Hello and welcome to Mindset Mondays with DTK. This is episode number 53. We are beginning year 2 of what was originally a year-long project, which is now an ongoing project, for folks with a growth mindset or those who would like to hone and develop one. So, Playground here is about playing with new ideas and trying on new mindsets. So if you take a moment, if you'll click share right below this and share this with your community, invite your friends, families, Facebook friends, and colleagues to join the conversation. This is an open playground. So today, got an interesting thing to play with today. The idea that something very, very simple. Fortune magazine ran a series called The Best Advice I Ever Got, and they interviewed Eric Schmidt, who was then the chairman and CEO of Google, and his comment was very simple. Best advice I ever got, have a coach. And no, let me be really clear. This is not a pitch about having a coach. This is about stacking the deck, about increasing the likelihood and the chances and creating the conditions for you to live and lead at your best. Right. A large number of the folks that I cycle with, I'm a long distance cyclist, when they want to lean into doing triathlons, and whether they want to compete or not, they just want to do a triathlon. First thing many of them do, hire a coach. If you're going to improve your chances of performing well in a sport, you hire a coach. Why then, if you want to increase the chances of performing well in life or in business, would you not do the same thing? Again, it's simple. It's increasing the likelihood of you being able to live and lead at your best. Now, I've tried something here with Be Live, with the platform I use to do this. So bear with me. I'm going to actually play this 41-second video from Eric Schmidt. Let's see how this goes. So let me see how this works. So put this on solo and click play. It's designed to be that simple. And again, I'm hoping the sound played. He was really clear. He said, one thing that people are not very good at is seeing themselves the way others see them. And that's where a coach really, really helps. And again, it's having somebody in your corner. Now, notice that the first thing he said, the first thing that the CEO and then CEO and chairman of Google, the first thing he said was, why do I need a coach? The CEO of an established company, is there something wrong? Is there something wrong? That's the first thing he was concerned about. Kind of find that fascinating, how often we have this idea that asking for help is a bad thing. So it was with my coach a couple weeks ago in Santa Fe, and one of the things that Rich Lippman brought up was an article that was written about a woman named Amanda Palmer. She wrote a book called The Art of Asking: How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Let People Help. And in this article, she talked about part of the story with Thoreau, and what she said was, here, let me read you this piece. Henry David Thoreau wrote in painstaking detail about how he chose to remove himself from society, to live by his own means in a little 10-foot cabin 15-foot hand-hewn cabin on the side of a pond. What he left out, though, from his book Walden, was the fact that the land that he built on was borrowed from his wealthy neighbor, his pal, Ralph Waldo Emerson. And Emerson had him over for dinner all the time. And every Sunday, Thoreau's mother and sister brought over a basket of freshly baked goods for him, including donuts. The idea of Thoreau gazing thoughtfully over the expanse of transcendental Walden Pond, a bluebird alighting onto his threadbare shoe, all the while eating donuts that his mom brought him, just doesn't jibe with most people's picture of a self-reliant, noble, marrow-sucking back-to-the-woods folk hero. How does it change the impression of his experience and his choices when we know that he was not really suffering or living the ascetic life? In her book, what she talks about and what she hammers in the article is, take the effing donuts. Don't hold on to this romantic idea that in order to achieve something, you have to suffer. She says, to the artists and creators and scientists, nonprofit runners, librarians, strange thinkers, start-uppers, and inventors, to all the people everywhere who are afraid to accept the help in whatever form it's appearing, please take the donuts. To the girl who spent her 20s as a street performer, this is the self-biographical component from Amanda's book. To the girl who spent her 20s as a street performer and stripper living on less than $700 a month, who went on to marry a best-selling author who she loves unquestioningly, but even that massive love can't break her unwillingness to accept his financial help. Please, everybody, please just take the effing donuts. Have a mentor. Have a coach, lean on your friends, build a community. This is the opportunity for you to stack the deck, to have someone in your corner. There's a huge longitudinal study done in Kauai. The two research, one from the University of Kauai and one from University of California, San Diego, started a longitudinal study in 1955 on all the children born on the island of Kauai in 1954, 55, and 56. In fact, they're still collecting data. And this study became a study about resilience, and regardless of the conditions under which these children were raised, grew up, grew to adulthood, and now live, those that demonstrated resilience, the one thing they all had in common is they had somebody in their corner. They had somebody who believed in them, whether it was a coach or a mentor or a parent or a teacher. The one thing they had in common is they all had someone who believed in them. Keep coming back to how simple this is. Yes, Eric Schmidt said have a coach. Yes, that video is on my website. Yes, it's a core belief of mine. That's why every coach should have a coach. It's why coaching has become a core leadership competency. Let's leave out the fact right now that we expect our leaders to be able to coach their direct reports, yet we don't provide all those leaders with coaching themselves or training to have a coach approach to their leadership. We're working on that piece. But the idea that there's an expectation already culturally sweeping through corporate, that coach approach, the ability to coach downstream, is a core leadership competency. Wow. Think about that. There's a cultural expectation that coaching is important as a way of leadership, that helping those coming up grow in a way where you're creating the conditions for them to grow rather than doing things for them. It's remarkable. So what are you doing in your world to stack the deck? What are you doing in your world to have somebody in your corner? Where are you seeking out help? Actually, actively seeking out help. I love that the year mark for this cycle of Mindset Monday is always around Groundhog Day, which is when I always send out client gifts, which is sort of the holiday that I claimed because it goes perfectly with the work of coaching. What actions will you take? What beliefs will you shift? What will you commit to changing so that this time next year doesn't look anything like this year? So what will you do? What will you change? What belief set will you strip or take on so that this time next year looks different? Right? We have a remarkable opportunity to create the conditions where you can live and lead at your best. What if it's something as simple as have a coach? What if it's something as simple as bringing on a mentor, a women's group, a men's group, a study group, joining a mastermind? What are the things you can do? What are the communities you can build? What are the resources you can bring into your corner so that as you step into the ring, you're not alone? There is no rule that says you must do things alone in order for them to have value. There's no tenet that it must be difficult, hard, a struggle in order for it to have value. That's crap. That's completely fabricated. And I know how common it is that all this work, 11 years in this business, all the coaching that I've had and all the work I've done around this, one of the things I realized at the mastermind I'm part of and was with in Santa Fe a couple weeks ago, I still have the lingering components of that completely effed up, made up belief that when it's hard, it has more value. No. No. There's nothing wrong with ease and flow. In fact, building the structure, the scaffolding, the support necessary for things to be easeful. Talked about this last week. Easeful and have flow. Wow. Now, shouldn't that be the goal? Yes, I used should. Shouldn't that be the goal? It's about designing the life that you want and then architecting your business or your career to support that. And I want the ease and flow. So I want somebody in my corner. And I want to lean in to the help that I request. Yes, it's one thing to ask for help. It's the other thing to use it. It's one thing to receive the donuts. You actually have to eat them. So for this week, the opportunity is look at who and what you can bring into your corner to make more ease and flow in your world. What will you commit to? What changes will you begin now so that this time next year looks completely different? I'm excited to hear. So please come to the Facebook group. Come to facebook.com/groups/Mindset Mondays. There'll be a post for episode 53. Share what you're willing to step into, willing to commit to, declare it into the community, what you will do and commit to change so that this time next year looks completely different than it does right now. So between now and next week, what mindset will you choose?